Hi, I'm Vicki Carroll and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about 7 steps to build positivity and a growth mindset. A lot of the information I'll be sharing on today's segment is from my book, Building Blocks. And I wrote this book as a practical guide to support kids and teens who struggle with behavior, but also that have academic challenges. And first of all, we need to look at personality. What is personality? Personality comprises the characteristics of thoughts, emotions, behavior, and motivation. We know that emotions are powerful. Negative emotions, unfortunately, drive a negative outcome, and positive emotions allow individuals to be their best, be motivated, and accomplish those things that are important to them. Positive emotions include things like joy and gratitude and hope and love and pride, and they're really all essential to optimum functioning. So these emotions allow an individual to broaden their focus, to be more resilient, to undo negative feelings, and then to build that personal productivity. The flip side of this is those negative emotions like fear and anger and guilt. And so many kids that struggle academically feel guilt for not getting homework assignment turned in, not being able to write a paper correctly or do math problems. And so we really need to work on undoing these negative emotions because they lower a person's focus and confidence and motivation, which then decreases that personal productivity. Negative emotions may cause a child to want to fight or flee. Adults as well. When we feel like we're, just being overrun by negative emotion, we want to either leave the situation or fight over the situation. And maybe your child or teen does both of these, where they resist wanting to do homework that's too difficult or answers that they just can't seem to solve in a math problem. And so they become overwhelmed and angry and slam the book on the desk and run into their room and close the door. This tells us as parents that we need to start helping them to undo that guilt and to feel more positive about themselves. And this is where growth mindset comes in. Growth mindset occurs when an individual is willing to face the challenges, admit that they have them in spite of those setbacks, and know that things can get better, and that they have some control over this by saying, I can, and not I can't. I can't then is a fixed mindset. The perspective of this isn't ever gonna change for me and my abilities are unalterable, and they just simply give up. So how do we encourage a growth mindset in a child? Well, it's best to use what we call process praise, not person praise. Let me tell you the difference. If a child does very well on a math test, rather than saying, oh my gosh, you're so smart in math, well, okay, that's a nice compliment, but it's so much better to focus on the process. You did well on the math test because you got your homework done. You got it turned in on time. Maybe you did your flashcards. You studied for the test. That's why you did so well on your math test. It gives them an idea of the process that occurred in order for that good grade or in order for that success. Then that way they can repeat the behavior, and they know that they own some of that they had something to do with the positive outcome, which is extremely empowering. We need to also watch our messaging when it comes to our kids. How are you sharing information with your child? Another thing that's very important is to take time to empower your child. Use that positive self-talk. Even when they're frustrated or they haven't done well on something, or they haven't gotten homework turned in, or they're upset by something a friend said, use that positive self-talk. Focus on the positives of the situation, what they can learn from it, and how they in the future can control it. The math test was hard. Perhaps you needed to study a little more. We need to get you some outside tutoring, but you can do this. You have within your power to change this behavior and to have a positive outcome. Now that doesn't mean that straight A's, but it means a passing grade. Teach them to use what we call thought stopping. When they start to feel really negative about something, to just stop those thoughts and replace them with a positive. Not, I'm a failure, I'm stupid, I can't do this, but this is hard, I have resources, and I have ways and things I can put into place to do better in this situation. We know that it's human nature to focus on negatives and dismiss the positives. We know that it takes 5 positive thoughts to cancel 1 negative thought. So negatives just seem to engulf us and our children and really drag people down. And so it's important to help your child recognize the positives and how they can overcome the negatives, because those thoughts can be so powerful. Build resiliency by appreciating personal strengths. Point out to your child that maybe math is hard for them, but they do great writing papers, or they're really good at retelling stories, or they come up with really creative words when they need to write a creative story. Help them to stop feeling guilty on past failure. Again, it's that negative positive ratio, not holding on to something that didn't go well, but to have learned from it and to move on from it, to take their actions personally, that they can control their actions, and to achieve and move into that growth mindset. I can do this, I will do this, and I am in charge of this. What about behavioral confirmation? That's also very powerful. And children will become what they think others want them to be. So if they're always told that they're not very good at this or not very good at that, they may really find it very hard to rise up and be able to accomplish certain aspects within that arena. So if they have that fixed mindset on I'm not very smart in math, it's going to be really hard for them to do well in math because of that confirmation. Help a child or teen move from that fixed mindset by saying you can improve, you can do better. And the expectation isn't an A, but the expectation is that you give it your best. Foster self-esteem in your child and in yourself, because self-esteem is really that personal evaluation of ourselves. And high self-esteem drives positive outcome. Negative self-esteem then drives negative outcome. And really we know that high self-esteem is very important for achieving success. So 4 ideas to help parents build self-esteem in their child. Teach by example. Have esteem yourself. Watch your words, not using negative or demeaning words or dismissing them or making them feel that if they don't get an A on a test, it's a failure. Teach children to recognize the power of those self-affirmations. Self-affirmations are statements we tell ourselves that help us build that growth mindset. Like, I can be happy. I can be successful in school. I will advocate for myself. I will have a growth mindset. Now, I hope you notice that they all started with I. That makes it very personal. And that way the child is owning that. Therefore, they'll be able to hopefully follow through with that behavior. Take time to reinforce when your child does well and not to only focus on when they don't. A child's growth mindset will improve when they are encouraged to face challenges with grit, perseverance, and that process praise. These tools will help them to build an arsenal of ideas and strategies to help them achieve success. So when it really comes to working with our children, be aware of behavioral confirmation and also helping them build that growth mindset and not getting stuck in a negative mindset. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. And you can find my book, Building Blocks, on Amazon. Thanks for joining me.